Hello, everybody. We are live. Welcome to another Facebook Live with yours truly, Sarah Gaston. Anyway, forgive my delay. I just got done doing a yoga class and then rapidly stuffed a baked sweet potato in my mouth. Anyway, by the way, if you have never had a baked sweet potato, they are amazing. I highly recommend them. And this one was just perfect. Anyway, while we're waiting for people to hop on to ask your questions live. Hello, Joseph Jones. So lovely to see you, my friend. He's a distant friend. He's far away in Canada. Anyway, I want to just do a couple of announcements, which I'll make again at the end, but I just want to make them up front while we're waiting for people to hop on. I have lots of juicy goodness to share with you guys today. The first announcement is I, along with two filmmakers, are going to launch a demo reel business starting this week. You'll hear an announcement just any day now. A lot of actors, hello Christina, a lot of actors really struggle because, thank you Joseph. Joseph is commenting that he saw my post from my fan film, or a fan film that I am in called The Bat. Of course, it's in the DC universe with the Joker and Batman. Anyway, that was so much fun to do. I can't wait to see the end result. Anyway, so we are going to start a deal making business, a reel making business, a deal. I guess it will be a deal when we make your reel. Anyway, making reels from scratch with original content. I know a lot of actors struggle with that because they keep hearing, oh, I need a demo reel, and they don't have sort of a bridge, what we call a bridge demo, to use in the meantime while they're waiting to accumulate enough footage to put together a proper demo reel. So anyway, we decided that we were going to start that service here in Texas. Jesse, oh my gosh, I owe you a phone call. Hello, my love. I will call you as soon as I'm done here today. Thank you. So that's coming down the pipe. I'm going to be releasing a new online class, script analysis, the ultimate script analysis workshop, everything you need to know about analyzing a script from A to Z. If you're not familiar with an online class, basically it's a class that you pay for once, and you have modules and you have videos and you have things that you do. I'm going to give you like little assignments and stuff, but because it's online, because it's an online course, you can take it anytime from anywhere, day or night, and you can watch it over and over. So the content is yours for forever, I guess, until, I don't know, the planet implodes. Anyway, so that's coming down. So anyway, very excited about all that. So couple of things. First of all, Brian Byrne, my buddy from long ago, he was in my class many moons ago, asked a question that I did not see from last week. So as always, if I miss your question, your first up next week. Hey Anna Lynn, hey Jill Giles, oh my gosh, oh, she's another pal from a long time ago. Don't you miss doing theater, Jill? Remember when we did theater live with people in an audience? Those were good times. Jill directed me and a few other very fun, wonderful friends a million years ago in a touring production of The Magician's Nephew, which is one of the Narnia books, C.S. Lewis. I've never laughed so hard. We had so much fun with that show. And Jill is a lovely director. She is a director every actor wants, because she doesn't sit on her actors. She just kind of like winds you up and lets you go. Anyway, hands down one of the most fun, positive experiences I've ever had in theater. So thank you, Jill Giles, for that. Hey, Anna Lynn, yay! Anna Lynn, clearly you're feeling better. So nice to see you on here, yay. So Brian's question from last week was, is it true that some actors study for years on their roles? So here's what I would say. I am sure that is the case. For example, if you are somebody like Salma Hayek, who for a very long time wanted to bring the movie Frida to life, which was about the artist Frida Kahlo, yes, she would have been immersed for years in that research, because she was adamant about playing that character. She was adamant about getting the funding so that the film got made. So yes, absolutely, there are people that are going to spend years on roles. But, you know, I think for most people, you gotta wait until you get the role and then you start to work on it. The other thing is, if you really, really want the role, you might start doing the research ahead of time, and so that you can really bring a competitive edge to the audition process, or the negotiation process, depending on how far you are up in the food chain. You know, Nicole Kidman does not need to go into the audition room, right? But if there's a possibility she is in consideration for a role with other actresses, and if she really wanted that role, she may start doing the research ahead of time to try to secure the role. So anyway, that is the answer to that question. Hello, Robin Jones. So happy to see you. So I have my handy dandy laptop in front of me because I don't want to miss questions like I did last time. I felt silly when I found it after the fact. So I'm going to be double checking my, I'm going to be double checking my computer at the same time. I know, it's annoying. You have to look at my messy scalp, or my messy part. Anyway, it's okay. You'll probably all live really good long lives, even though you're having to look at my part. So the other thing I wanted to bring up is something that I was already going to talk about in my Tuesday night class, which we had last night, obviously, because today's Wednesday, at least in the Western Hemisphere. So, well, I shouldn't even say that. I should say in Houston, Texas, it's today. In, you know, Australia, it's tomorrow. And that is creating an environment for your character to live in that is not contingent based on outside circumstances. And I want to explain what that means. What happens sometimes with actors is they will come to an audition situation and they might match their energy or their volume with the level of the reader. And the thing about it is, even a professional reader, even if like you're working with a coach, you're working with, you know, somebody like me, or, you know, some other kind of coach, they're always going to, a good coach is going to watch their volume and not, you know, give too much life, too much energy to the characterization, because they don't want to pull focus from you, right? One of my pet peeves, and I know this is an issue with a lot of casting directors, is when you have a reader who is basically pulling focus from the scene because they are either too loud, and so they vocally compete with the person on camera, or they're like doing all this kind of stuff. Now, I like to play, when I'm working with somebody on an audition and I'm taping with somebody, I like to play along with them, but I'm never there to compete with them or overshadow them, right? I always sort of tone down whatever I'm doing. I make sure I'm away from the mic, I'm away from the camera, so that they are spotlighted, right? That does not mean, though, depending on what the circumstances are of the scene, they should pull down their volume and they should pull down their energy, right? So the example I'll use is, you know, say you're driving a car in a rainstorm, and you know, it's incredibly loud, right? So you might have to raise your volume a little bit, right? And you might have some tension in your voice because, you know, you're trying to see, you know, if you've lived in Texas ever, you know what our driving crazy rainstorms are like. You can't see anything. And so you might have to raise your voice. I'm doing the best I can, you know, whatever. So, now your reader might be over there going, you know, honey, slow down. You know, in real life, she might be going, slow down, you're driving too fast, we're going to skid, or whatever, you know. She might be a little more loud and hysterical, but your reader shouldn't be doing that, right? That doesn't mean you drop your volume. It doesn't mean you drop your energy. You play the intensity and the stakes of the scene no matter what is happening around you. And same thing is going to be, you know, when you're on set, okay? Depending on the circumstances, you know, you may have a reader like right next to the camera reading off. You may have a reader over here, and, you know, you're looking at like a little X over there, or you're looking at some point that is actually not the reader, and maybe they're reading quietly because they're watching their volume, but you still have to adhere to the circumstances and the tone and the energy and the stakes of the scene. And of course, you have to do it with 30 people standing around watching you, or looking at their phone, or chewing gum, or, you know, kind of making googly eyes at, you know, the craft services woman or whatever. So those are just some things to think about. make sure that you're creating the intensity and the stakes and the volume that are appropriate to the scene, not trying to match your reader. Okay, that's what I got for you guys today. Oh, I'm parched. Anyway, I'm waiting for your questions to roll in. Robin Jones, you're always good for a question. Because you know, I'm not going to keep yammering on if nobody has questions, because why? Anyone? Because I believe that time is our most valuable and non-renewable resource, so I don't want to waste yours. I'm looking on the computer to see if there are comments that I didn't get to see. So far, I'm not seeing any comments. Oh wait, these are reversed. What's happening here? Anyway, okay, so I'll tell you what, y'all, I'm gonna do ye old countdown, and then if any questions pop up while I'm doing my countdown, then so be it. First of all, if you are not already on my YouTube subscription list, I can't talk today, which is delightful because I have an audition right after this. If you are not on my YouTube subscription list, I will, hello Amanda, hello in Saranj, I don't know if I'm saying that correct. Oh, Carlos says, hi Sarah, can you talk about actor preparation? Ooh, 4 days. Carlos, I would love it if you could be slightly more specific about actor preparation. And if not, then I'll just start winging it. And then Robin Jones has a question as well. Okay, so actor preparation. Wow, there's so much to do. In fact, as I said at the beginning, I am launching this week a new online course called The Ultimate Script Analysis Workshop, everything you need to know about analyzing a script from A to Z, for this very question. Actor preparation, well, first of all, it's just key. If you want to catch a casting director's eye so that they will continue to bring you back in, even if they don't book you at that time. Yeah, I mean, it's everything. So basically I can talk a little bit about what I consider proper preparation. First of all, know your lines, okay? When your eyes are buried in the script, all we see is an actor reading. We don't see a character, we don't see a creation, we don't see anything other than there's an actor reading from their script. I understand sometimes we get scripts at the last minute and there is a lot to memorize, and I would say train yourself to learn how to memorize very, very quickly. It's just what we do. It's just what we have to do. And the truth is, even if you book the role, they can always change the script at the last minute, okay? And so you may be up all night the night before learning new lines, okay? That's just part of the deal. When you are not off book, you simply can't have the presence and the connection and the level of characterization, the listening, the attention to detail that you would have otherwise. I understand sometimes it's all but impossible. That being the case, I hope all you actors out there are practicing your cold reading every single day, because if you're a skillful cold reader, you can have a script in hand and still manage to treat pretty well. But I would say if you've got somebody who's gone all out and then you've got somebody who's got their head buried in their script, I would be concerned as a casting director that either A, you're not that invested, or B, you don't know what preparation is involved. Because let me tell you this, for a lot of these episodics and a lot of these movies, they're booking straight from tape. So what they want to see is a performance in that audition room, or on that tape, or on that Zoom callback, okay? So first of all, learn your lines. And second of all, always answer those essential questions. If you're unclear about what the essential questions are, imagine, I have a YouTube video about it. Another reason you should subscribe to my YouTube channel. It's essential questions you should ask for every script. Who am I? Where am I? Who am I talking to? What is our relationship? What do I want? How am I going to get it? Moment before, moment after. You have to create a world that this character lives in, right? You've got to understand the details of the relationships. You've got to understand the status changes in the relationship. You got to understand your eye lines. You just have to be so crystal clear on all that, so that when they see that audition tape, they think, huh, I bet that person could play that role. I can totally see them in the role. They've got to see that from your audition. Otherwise, why bother? Okay, so I hope, I mean, that's just scratching the surface, but absolutely, that's like the minimum you want to do to prep for any audition. You know, one of the best pieces of advice I heard was the part is yours to lose. Okay, so when you're in the room, when you're on that Zoom callback, when you are taping your audition at home, the part is yours. You can totally have that part, right, for that moment. And if you start looking at it that way, rather than, oh, it's like some stupid pop quiz that I have to take, first of all, I think it's going to make prepping for an audition and doing the audition a lot more enjoyable. But it also gives you a sense of ownership, because what I think a lot of people do, and I talk about this a lot in class, is no one knows your potential, right? They know what they see, right? It's just like the Olympics. It's just like a football game. You know, the Super Bowl doesn't go, well, he really was the best player, but, you know, he fumbled the ball, so we'll just go ahead and give it to, you know, the Bills or whatever. No, it's like whoever shows up and does the deed on the day, right, is the winner, okay? And acting is no different, right? We've got to do the deed on the day and show what we've got, because they're not going to know otherwise. Okay, I hope that was thorough. Okay, Robin Jones asked, when auditioning for a period piece, whether it be a play or a film, how appropriate do you feel to pay strict attention to one's modern reading? Okay, if I'm going to try to answer this, Robin, and then clarify if I'm misunderstanding the question. My belief is that you, unless it is meant to be postmodern, okay, and by postmodern I mean unless it is meant to be that the characters are anachronistic to the time period, you know, like A Million Ways to Die in the West. Obviously that wasn't a traditional Western, okay, if you saw that movie. So definitely, one of the things I think about is, what is the education level likely for this character? What is the going to be the vocabulary likely for this character? You know, what is the socioeconomic status for this character? What are the given circumstances for this character? So that actually will place me, hopefully, pretty accurately as we can be, since we're not time travelers, into the frame of mind of that character. So, you know, say you are playing a cowboy in a Western. I don't know how verbose you would be, because, you know, you're outside by yourself all the time, or with cows, or maybe with other cowboys, right? I don't know what kind of conversation cowboys have, right? So their vocabulary is probably pretty limited. I would think their subject matter is probably pretty limited. I would think they would probably be naturally kind of an introverted person who kind of like to do things their own way, because, you know, that's kind of the lifestyle that they chose, as opposed to being a shopkeeper. And so I would not think that that person would have a particularly lively or animated or witty, you know, way of speaking, because that's simply not conducive to the lifestyle that they're living. I hope this is making sense. So I try to do things like that, take those things into consideration when I'm auditioning for a period piece. That's where a lot of times for me, having some sort of wardrobe that isn't a costume, but that simulates that time period, can be really helpful. Because, you know, if I'm wearing, you know, a blouse and a long skirt and, you know, boots or something like that, I just stand differently, and I move differently, and I speak differently, and I hold myself differently than I would if I'm, you know, in my yoga pants sitting here in my chair doing Facebook Live. Anyway, I hope that is helpful, and if that wasn't really what you were asking, please, please, please clarify. One thing I wanted to mention, going back to this, sorry, I'm scrolling to see if there are other questions. One thing also that I wanted to mention, in relation to, packing your own chute and creating the environment for your character, like I was talking about at the beginning of this talk, is there's a freaking great film out right now. Okay, good, Robin, I'm glad that was helpful to you. There's a great film out right now, actually kind of addresses this. This film is so good. It's so good. It just touches on so many things, and you're gonna laugh. It's called An American Pickle. It's Seth Rogen and Seth Rogen. And the premise is ridiculous. A man falls into a vat of pickles and gets accidentally sealed in it. 100 years later, he emerges, and he is, now in New York, and his only surviving relative is his great-great-grandson. And so it's this sort of, thing about family, and it's sort of a commentary on our current culture and how we view commerce. It's a commentary on loss and grief and the way we deal with loss and grief. Anyway, it's funny and it's weird and it's really sweet. I cried. But here's the key. Seth Rogen plays these two completely different characters, and I have no idea if he had like this alarmingly brilliant stand-in for when he was, one character playing against himself. But the level of detail and the way he reacts to himself is magnificent. I mean, he matches the levels, the energy of the interaction. He matches he's listening. He receives what the other character is saying, who he also plays. It's a little bit hard to describe. But that to me is somebody who technically has done their work to know how to match I know that the argument escalates here, and I know that I have to match it, in this moment. And that is something to where he did that on his own. He packed his own chute. He wasn't having to rely on the other actor to give him all that juice, because the other actor would have been, just another actor. It wouldn't have been, the character he's playing. So just a remarkable technical feat, right? So check it out, An American Pickle. It is just, to me, it is a master class in, like I said, packing your own chute, creating the stakes, creating the circumstances for yourself, without necessarily having, that, somebody there to match you. Okay. Like I said, he may have had a brilliant, person reading with him off camera, but it was just super impressive. And, anyone who knows me knows I'm kind of picky. So if I was that impressed, then it's probably pretty good. So anyway, I don't see any other questions, but if you have questions, drop them in while I wrap up. All right. Subscribe to my YouTube channel. I have all sorts of information on there that is full of juicy goodness for you. In fact, I just did one on do your research, because I have seen an alarming amount of people not doing their research when they come in for auditions, and then they don't have everything that they need in order to prepare properly for the audition. Anna Lynn Lee has a question. Has marketing oneself changed now? I guess my question would be now as opposed to when. I will tell you, social media, whether we like it or not, is a thing. Okay? So part of that is posting on social media, and part of that is, especially for those of us with no age. Okay. So social media is important. Okay, so following casting directors, engaging with casting directors, posting stuff that is it doesn't have to be every post, but posting stuff about like what you're up to or what you are doing to further your career. Like, I had this great workshop this last weekend and it was so fantastic and I learned so much. I had this great class that I went to, or something like that. And hey, I did this short film and it's in post-production, I can't wait to see it, I play a circus performer or something like that. As far as without an agent, so engaging with casting directors may or may not help you if you don't have an agent. I would say if you don't have an agent, in terms of marketing yourself, again, I would probably get on as many film and theater, if you do theater, Facebook groups and online groups as you can. There's stuff out there. There's Houston Film Casting, there's Short Films Texas, Texas Film Commission, Southwest Casting, all of those. It just stay visible. We are subjected to so much content that it's overwhelming, and it's really easy to just kind of get lost in the shuffle if you're not making an effort to stay visible. And I would say if you don't have any representation, take a look at why that is. Like, is that a choice that you're making? Or do you feel like you're not ready? And if you don't feel like you're ready, then maybe take a look at, well, what would I need to do to get ready? Because after a certain point, I feel like you kind of have to either pull the plug and really go for it, or just keep it as a hobby. And there's nothing wrong with that. Absolutely nothing wrong with that. It's perfectly appropriate, and can be enjoyable and can be awesome. But if your end goal is to eventually do it professionally, I would say, well, if I'm not professionally represented right now, what do I need to think about doing in order to make that happen? So that would be my answer to that. Joe Grisafi asks, what are your thoughts about actors posting about auditions? Well, I am not a huge fan of that personally. Remember, Joe Grisafi and I talk about this in our podcasts. Your mileage may vary. Here's my impression, and this is an impression that has been echoed by my manager. When someone posts about, oh, I had this audition today, what we start to wonder as an observer is, wow, they're auditioning all the time. Do they ever book? Okay, so getting invited to an audition is, it's great. It's great. It's our very, very, very first step. But having an audition in and of itself is like the bare minimum we're hoping for. It's not the end result that we're after. So I would be careful about that. I had another audition, because sooner or later people are going to say, well, are you booking? Are you ever going to book, right? The other thing is, so many of these episodic shows are getting so strict about NDAs. They're very concerned about storylines getting leaked out, that the last thing that you want to do, and I've seen actors do this before, is talk about by word a project publicly that they auditioned for when they're really not supposed to talk about it at all. So if you ever heard of an NDA, do not disclose agreement is basically what it is. You're not supposed to talk about it, right? So you can say, I had an audition today for a big movie, right? But if you could just kind of get into some trouble. First of all, you could get into some trouble. That's one of the reasons a lot of times there's a watermark on audition scripts that has your name, because they'll know, like, if this gets leaked, they'll know that it was you that leaked it. So you just have to be very careful. I know that was a long-winded answer, but that's just my opinion. That's just my opinion. Anna Lynn, you're very, very welcome. All right. Any other questions before I peace out? I don't know why I feel the need to make everything a musical, but I do. All right. Okay. That may be it, you guys. Delightful spending this time with you. Subscribe to my YouTube channel. Learn all the juicy goodness that there is to learn from me for free. And I really, really encourage you to sign up for my email list, because there are things I share in email that I don't share anywhere else. www.sarahgaston.com, no H, is my email address. And yes, look for that announcement about Reel Wranglers, custom demo reels just for you. Keep a lookout for my announcement, the Ultimate Script Analysis Workshop, everything you need to know about analyzing a script from A to Z. And as always, my friends, stay safe and break a leg out there. Have a brilliant day. How many L's were there in that word? Brilliant. I'm going to swallow my own tongue. All right. Love you guys. Bye.